It's called wearetullahoma.com. We, not the letter R, .com. wearetullahoma.com. We started this website just over the weekend because we knew that there was going to need to be a single place where people could go to get information. There's so much information coming and going. It's hard to know what's accurate, but also just to not be constantly Googling and searching and trying to find it on your own. So worked on that, information being one of the number one goals, but also knowing that there was going to be a need for people to know how to reach out to get help. We're already starting to see it for, I need food, I've lost my job, I'm not sure about how to pay my electric bill. Those kinds of questions are coming in, as well as people that want to volunteer. There's a lot of people like me that were just sitting at home, and I'm always happier when I've got things to do. And so that's part of why we were like, let's just throw this together. So we've got new volunteers in the community signing up literally every hour, which is exciting. And things like this program are going to help let people know that it's here. The overarching goal, I knew that our city leaders were going to be overwhelmed with questions, and they need to be doing the tough job of making those decisions. And so we wanted to support them on the back end. Saturday afternoon, there's some great technology. And I got on the phone with a few people. I'll tell you what happened was Friday, I had to go to Chattanooga. I have a business. I'm actually an art consultant for hospitals, and we do a lot with the VA. And I had to go to the VA in Chattanooga to deliver some things. I got in the car, and they were talking about the traffic jams happening in Nashville, which just kind of bewildered me, knowing what's happening in the rest of the country. And so in my drive there and back, I just got on the phone and started calling people, like Scotty Hargroves and Mayor Curley and, our aldermen, and just said, what's going on and how can we help? And by the time I got back, it was like, we need to pull this together. Called a few of my friends and neighbors and said, how can we do this? And so Saturday, we just sat down, did an outline, and built a very simple website on Wix. We now have some volunteers that are website developers that are helping kind of get a few more streamlined. The forms are just built on Google Forms. Thanks to this free technology that's out there, it didn't really cost much except for buying a domain. And, I paid for a few ads on Saturday just to kind of prime the pump to get people to know it was there, knowing that by Monday we would need it. And that's exactly what happened. So yesterday we really pushed, as you know, Chris, I called you, really wanted to make sure that question and answer that the mayor and our city leaders were doing was live streamed. And, we had an average of about 250 people on that at all times, lots of questions being asked throughout. And that was the kind of dialogue we knew was going to be needed. People at times like this especially just want to know what's going on and know that they have a way to ask some questions. And so that's why we built this. What's exciting is now to see how, Mayor Curley and several of our aldermen are starting to reach out to us and say, we've got, requests for volunteers, or we've got requests for needs, and can you get this out there? So that's what we're working on. wearetullahoma.com. And you'll see at the header, there is the city of Tullahoma orders the shelter in place. So we've got that across the top. I'm going to click on the I need help. And the questions that it asks are, I need help picking up my medicine, or someone I care for may have the virus, I need to know what to do, I'm sick or need a doctor for something other than the coronavirus, what do I do? I'm stressed and need to talk with someone, I'm home alone and wish there was a way I could talk to someone to brighten my day. Just things like that. That's the healthcare. Then there's a section on food and supplies, help picking up groceries, other supplies, help with my animals or yard work if you're sick, emergency maintenance issues like plumbing or electrical. And then we know this is going to be coming, a whole section on education. Our school system is making a lot of tough decisions right now. And I know in talking with them and some teachers, they're getting some training on online schools and things. We are also getting some teachers, preschool teachers and things, reaching out and saying, if we need help with tutoring, how can we assist those teachers? And so that's what we're trying to build up, that list of, people that could help in the community or retired teachers. Another section is financial. I've lost my income. I'm not sure what resources are available. My business is closed. Who can help me with grants, emergency funding? I'm sick but can't pay for the doctor to go for testing, those kinds of things. And all of these have other. So if anybody needed to fill in the blanks, a lot of these questions are things we already know the answers to, that we can just redirect you to some of the CDC or local. There's a hotline regionally that will give a lot of the information, or that can be a phone call that people can call to say, these are my symptoms, and they'll talk you through what you should do and what the process would be. And so we can just kind of be traffic control, I guess. That's what, I was talking with our leaders yesterday and just emailing back and forth. And I think we're just the switchboard. We're building bridges is really our number one job. I'll kind of jump ahead because I think this is probably the next question you're gonna ask. Is volunteers, is that what you're thinking, Chris? Yes. Okay. So volunteers, I'll read the volunteer application. So how can I help? Number one is communications and phone bank, how to keep this site current and connecting volunteers with opportunities. For instance, we had one of our volunteers this morning contacted all of the grocery stores in the area, including some of the smaller ones. The one on the, and I forget the names, it's the one I go to all the time on the corner of Lincoln and West Side, the produce market. They're on the list. It's not just the big ones. It's the Lighthouse Grocery on the east side, and got their hours, if they do delivery, if they have special senior hours, those kinds of questions. So all of that's the kind of thing that we've been updating. Not all of it is on the website yet, but it is all on our Facebook group page, as well as the Facebook community page. I would recommend that people join the group, because we are able to categorize these kinds of topics by subject matter. I'll come back to that. Let me continue on with how the volunteering. Other categories are manufacturing, like sewing, 3D printing, if you have a medical experience, if you can pick up or deliver, like food and supplies, if you can do services like walking dogs, yard work, laundry. There's some of that we're not going to have the ability to help with because of the quarantine, but there's things that we can do. And so we've got kind of the services on the back end to help with management of that. Also help with technology, like the couple that's helping us with this website and creating kind of the work tickets for when we get those help inquiries. They're creating like a ticketing system that then follows that through to the volunteers so that we're not missing people. Again, how can I help tutor? And finally, entertainment, like reading books online, singing music, just, someone that just wants to talk to somebody. We have Colin Sharan, who a lot of you may know in the community, has agreed to be the chair of this little department. So he's working on a video right now to kind of do a call for what we call in my industry positive distractions, ways that we can look at happy things instead of just all the statistics and the scariness that's out there. There's a lot of beautiful things here in our community. It's springtime, the flowers are blooming, and even if it's just in our backyard, giving people a way to share those pictures. We've seen some kids in other areas, or even in our own area, reading, childhood stories at nighttime. And so we're going to create kind of a channel with Colin's help and some of the other youth in the area, start that digital DJ of that kind of positive distraction sort of thing. So, there's a lot of different ways I think people can get involved. And, I used to be in Rotary forever. I've been to our Rotary here, but there was this saying that my Rotary Club of he profits most who serves the best. And we get a lot back by giving. And so that's what we're just trying to help give our community the ability to give back and help in whatever talents you may have. I think at last count, there was about 27 that were signed up. Now, we have not enabled all of those people. It's a really small team. I'll tell you, I have this is all I've done for the last few days. I didn't do a ton on Sunday because I had to do a few personal things, but all day yesterday, all day Saturday, it's all that I've worked on. And, I've had Rupa and Robin have been very involved with this and helping get the word out. And there's been really 3 or 4 people that have been helping make those calls, but I really expect that those numbers are going to grow on the volunteer. And I'm more of that operational person. And as I've said to our city leadership, I want them to just be able to work on, their jobs and be able to funnel this back to us and their constituents and let us help you. Part of why I did this in truthfulness is, I've worked a lot with Winston Brooks, who is doing an amazing job. There's no way anybody like him can handle all of the communication that has to be done with situations such as this. It literally does take a village, as they say. So we just, put the framework in place, and it's going to continue to grow. I know that we're going to have some, hiccups, and we're going to have some things that don't always work, but, we're trying, and it's a grassroots effort, and that is what community is. Well, we have not been really focused on that to date because Shelley Smith, who works with the city, as well as Motlow, they, along with the Chamber of Commerce last week, were leading an effort to get that information out. And so you can go to our website, or you can go to the City of Tullahoma's website, and there is a survey that any business can go in and fill out on their own, and it will say their business name, location, type of business, updated hours, and notes. We have that shared on our website. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to maintain that because it really was intended for more of the back end economic side of things, but there's a lot of good information on there. And I think as we're going into this business shutdown, we will be able to now kind of take all of our volunteers and start dividing up by category and making those phone calls. It's pretty easy to, the non-essential businesses are obviously closed. So we won't reach out to them, but I think we'll start contacting directly each of those restaurants to make sure what their hours are. Are they doing curbside service? The other beautiful thing about the group page is that any of those restaurants, business owners can go into the unit. So we've got different units broken down. Let me pull that up too, so I can just read that. It kind of helps decipher how, hold on, I've got to get to the right page. I have multiple tabs open. How instead of it just being this list in a feed like we usually see, that's what we loved. And I have to share, I stole this from Chattanooga. Chattanooga had a fantastic community group that was started about a week ago. They now have, I think it was like 16,000 members. And they did this units program. And so yesterday we were switching over to the units. I have to get to the right thing. And it's wonderful because the units are really broken up a lot for like educational purposes. So if you think about it just like chapters, you could have your biology chapters and whatnot. What we've done is taken that same unit format and broken it down into categories like financial or local support systems, as well as we've got a section on, I'm going to read them. One is existing community support, financial support, health updates, resources and testing, media, state, local, and school briefings and updates. So like today, just to mention, if people don't know it, Tullahoma City Schools did have an update that schools will be canceled through April the 6th. So that notice is on that section. There's a section on general information for COVID-19, and then there's a section for elderly and at-risk population information. If we go, I'll kind of slide up to like existing community support. The United Way of Highway 55, that director, Ashley Abrahams, went on to the group page and shared a link. There is a number anyone can call. It's 211, and they can get directly engaged with the United Way and some support systems on there. As well, right now on there is the grocery store hours delivery info. The financial support is where, like, we have listed that Light Tube and TUA will not be turning off power. That you're going to end up having to pay it, but don't worry, you're not going to get your lights turned off in the next 2 weeks. I think it is. It's on there. Those kinds of things, as we're finding out about it, we're putting it on there. And those are the things that I think are really helping the community. And I've learned that, honestly, because one of our help inquiries was, my lights are going to get turned off. I can't pay my bill. And I wrote to a few people, Robin Dunn being one of, I think she was the first person that I asked, or it might have been Rupa, and immediately wrote back and said, oh, Light Tube is not going to turn off. And I didn't know that, and that's the kind of thing our community needed to know. So the beautiful thing about that group is that we can share information. We'll be managing it to make sure that it's not incorrect information, but that's our number one goal. That's right, Facebook group, and there is a page, but the group will allow them to interact more. And the page is just like your normal, everyday business page that we're sharing. So, yep, those are the two best ways to get us. I've not done all the other social media. I think that the demographic that is the most in need of this is probably on Facebook. Now, our youth are probably on Snapchat and Instagram and those others. And as we're, moving along here, we may task some of our younger volunteers to help us with getting the word out there. But right now we haven't taken that on. You have to take on what you can manage. Can I throw in one thing, just one call to action that Mayor Curley shared with me? There is a severe shortage of blood donors. We've received a letter, and Mayor Curley sent it on to me, that they have lost over 1,000 blood donations due to this cancellation in our region, which is the Chattanooga region. That means, and they've lost over 12,000 blood drives. That's 355,000 blood donations. So if you are able, that is a service that is still open. They are going through the procedures to make sure that you are, everybody's safe. But if you're able, that is an easy way to really give back. So just want to put in that plug. So yeah, please share, follow, and thank you for helping us get the word out.